Hey there. Hi, good morning.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Cool. Yeah.
She was at our show. You were at the show last night?
I loved it, yeah.
That's awesome.
I heard the second show was a little bit more entertaining because...
I don't know if it was, though, because it was so loose and crazy.
Well, I heard some bourbon got...
What's that?
I heard some bourbon got passed around.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So we were up on stage and they were... Do you guys know the Thrilling?
Yep.
Yeah, so it got really loose, but I think they're genius. And
they really are.
But I do like it the first show because when they're really tight and crisp, the writing's so good that it was. I thought it was great. So it was fun.
So you're playing a character in the show who is arguably one of the sort of reprehensible characters in the Batman universe in terms of like from the police end. You know, he's been portrayed as sort of a big fat slob kind of guy. How do you sort of make this guy sort of more empathetic to us, and that we could actually relate to him?
I think that's kind of the deal with every character you play. I mean, a great example, and I'm not comparing myself at all, but when I watch Schindler's List and you see kind of introduced to Ralph Fiennes for the first time, and you're like, he's not playing some cardboard cutout Nazi. You're like, oh wow, because everyone is human, and so you're like, how does he rationalize to himself that what he's doing is right? And there you have to have people be slightly empathetic towards you to make it kind of cloudy and difficult. It's really once you're just a straight up bad guy and there's no redeeming qualities, then it's boring for you, it's boring for people to watch. But I also think even in the comic book universe, Harvey Bullock at times came up and saved the day in a big way. It was just, he was a complicated guy, you know, that was kind of back and forth.
Do you feel like you're playing him a little more empathetically this time, or to elicit more empathy?
Well, you know, when I read the Gotham Central books, I'm like, whoa, this guy's really an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can asterisk it out or whatever you have to do, but he's certainly non-PC, and that's almost to an extent where that's the universe we can't present at 8 o'clock on a Monday night on television. But yeah, so what makes it easy too is that what I do is kind of dictated by the scenes that are coming down the pike that we get, and they kind of tell us which way that scene's supposed to go, if it's, you know, where my relationship with Gordon is at. As you know, Ben and I are super close too, so which makes it really easy to do. It makes it even easier for us to play antagonists, you know. So, but I do think that Bullock probably is more of a comic foil in this world than he is in other worlds. So there's a little bit of that.
Is there anything that you've added to his role that wasn't originally scripted?
Yeah, some lines and stuff like that here and there, but not a big deal. But I don't even know if it stayed in the pilot. There was some line that he said, "You're ashamed," and I'm like, "I've never been ashamed." And I was like, last time I was ashamed was when I was 12 and my mom caught me. I don't know if it's still in there or something, but I always thought like, oh, that sounds Bullocky to say, you know, like. But Bruno and Danny are really great that way. They really let us have a lot of input, which maybe makes their life harder, but it's fun for us.
Do you think he reflects the city as a long-term resident as opposed to Gordon, who has just arrived?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He, you know, I think. Where are you from? What town are you from?
I'm actually from Ireland.
I know you're from Ireland. Oh, you're from Limerick.
Yeah.
Okay, so in Limerick there's 5 big mafioso families, right?
Yes.
Right, and they call it Stab City.
They do?
Right, so if you go to Limerick and you're like, I'm gonna change Limerick, how much success are you gonna have?
I haven't had much yet.
Right, good. But that's good. So, but it's like any big city like that with that deeply ingrained culture of old school kind of criminal elements and mafioso types, and so he goes, sometimes you need to work with some of those families to stop someone else who might be dirtier and darker, right? So like I think that's Gotham. It's just realpolitik in a way. Like friends of mine in the military and stuff, it's like, look, a lot of times we've had to back dictators so that we could stop. You know, I don't know. It's the same in politics or life. So, but I do think he's a good embodiment of the kind of different colors of Gotham. Yeah.
Harvey kind of toes the line between being working for the greater good and being self-serving. Does Harvey in this incarnation believe he's acting in the best interest of Gotham?
At first, I really think the primary motivation is what's the best interest of Harvey Bullock. You know what I mean? Survival mode. But then I think he's seen a lot of Jim Gordon types come through over the years, watch him crash and burn, and then this guy's just like the alpha version of those guys, the real Jim Gordon. And I think he recognizes that, and I think it reawakens in Bullock this notion that I used to be that kind of guy, and I think it changes Bullock for the better.
Okay, we have to move on to the next table. Sorry.
How did you know that?
My parents are from Kerry. I spend a lot of time. I've spent every year of my life in Ireland. So we're Munster people. This chick in Limerick. So they were like, so and so wins 175 million euro, like Euro Millions, the big Mega Millions kind of lottery there, and it's like, oh, the wife of the big mobster. How'd that work out? And back in the Whitey Bulger era, they used to do that in Charleston. Like, you couldn't be someone who just lived in Charleston and won the lotto. It had to go through. You ain't gonna just live on the block and win the lotto if you don't.
My brother actually had participated in a documentary. He played a younger version of Whitey Bulger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you from Boston?
What?
Are you from Boston?
Everybody thinks I am. I'm actually from New York, but I was born in New Hampshire.
Where?
In Rye Beach.
Oh, yeah. I lived in New Hampshire for a while.
Oh, yeah?
I was a little kid.
Thanks so much.
Beautiful. Yeah.